Hi, I'm Dr. Judy Morgan, and I'm at the AHVMA convention in Augusta, Georgia. And we're here with some really awesome people interviewing and talking about some really great products. And I just found some folks that I have been an advocate for their products for a lot of years. So I've got Leslie and Chris from Eddie's Wheels. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
So how long has Eddie's Wheels been in existence?
Well, the first wheelchair was built 25 years ago for our own dog, Buddha, and we have been on an assignment from a dog for the last 25 years. We've been a business with a tax number for 17 years, and now we have 17 employees. We have made about 20,000 wheelchairs over the last 17 years, and we have shipped them all over the world.
How prophetic is that your dog's name was Buddha?
Buddha, yeah. How prophetic was that? Unbelievable.
And Buddha's still with us, directing the show.
Exactly. She was this incredibly wise presence.
She was a blue Doberman.
With floppy ears.
Oh, I had a blue Dobie. I love them.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was an old soul in a dog body.
Pretty awesome. So, and I understand that there's going to be a change in who's in charge, or has been. What's going on there?
Well, there's succession plan. We didn't know that there was going to be a succession plan. We thought when we died that would be the end of Eddie's Wheels.
Oh, Buddha said no.
Buddha said
I
no.
couldn't do that. I couldn't let that happen.
Yeah,
So
Chris is...
I quit my bartending gig and
Bartending to wheelchairs.
yeah,
Actually.
adopted a dog. I've been doing it part-time my entire life anyway. I've been doing customer service on Saturday mornings for the last 6 years. And then I was bartending during the week. So I stopped bartending and I started building dog wheelchairs. And now I'm
Pretty
doing
awesome.
design work.
That's great. So is this your dog?
This is one of my parents' dogs. This is Bo. Bo was a bait dog in a dog fight when he was 3 months old, and now he's 4 years old. He has a crushed spine and a fused, dislocated shoulder from dog fighting, and his ears got cropped very, very short. But when we got him, he moved like a turtle across the ground. His legs were completely out in the front, and we've spent the last 3 years using our stand and pulling his legs back together. He has a wheelchair, and he's
Pretty awesome. How old was he when you got him?
He was 11 months old, and that was 3 years.
That's very, very cool. So we're going to use our little guy here. He's actually wearing a Help Him Up little suitcase. And those are also available at Eddie's Wheels. So we're going to get this little guy up using his little suitcase, and we're going to put him in his stand.
Turn that in. Turn up and There you go. There you go.
He's very twisted. When we first got Bo, he was spread eagle on the floor, and his last rib and his pelvic wing were touching each other. He was that twisted. So we immediately got in touch with our canine rehabilitation person, Erica McElway of Change Your Range, and Dr. Kevin Landau, who is a house call acupuncturist, and started his therapy. But his first line of defense was traction in this stand, and we would put him in it and he would fall asleep for about 2 hours and unwind that body. And it was just a beautiful thing to see. He was so happy. He would drag himself to the stand every day and say, please, now, put me in.
So I think that people don't really understand how important it is for these dogs that are down, particularly dogs that are down in all four, to get some time upright.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing his own therapy right now, just by standing in this, because it aligns his spine so perfectly, and he's resting on his pelvic floor. He's not resting on any soft tissue. He can't chafe. He's not going to get hurt. And when he wants to get out, he just barks at us, or he starts pulling his shoulders out, and we take him out.
That's awesome, and that's the best use of one of those airplane neck pillows that I've ever seen. I just love it.
Perfect bolster, and it's less than $10.
I might have to invest in some of those.
A chiropractic wedge works well too,
Ah.
but it doesn't loop over the saddle area the way this does.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely perfect. So I have to say, I have an older Eddie's Wheels cart at my office. A client bought it for her 16-year-old lab who was down in the back end. And this dog, I mean, she literally would run around the backyard without anything, just dragging her back end. She was very active. She absolutely hated her wheelchair. I'm really sorry. She hated her wheelchair. And she was pretty funny, and we worked with this dog for a long time. But she would bring the cart and the dog in, and we'd put the dog in the cart, and then we'd put treats out, you know, to try to get the dog to take a couple steps forward. Motivation for this dog, she didn't care. She would immediately flip herself on her side and put her wheels up in the air.
No. So I would tell you that there was something wrong with the balance of that cart now.
Uh-oh.
So in the early days of Eddie's Wheels, we made one cart. It was the standard balance cart, and it had a little tongue weight on the shoulders. So this was an old dog, probably had some arthritis from dragging his butt around. And so the weight of the yoke was too much for that dog. If that dog came to us now, we would put it in a neutral balance cart that would be weightless on his shoulders, and he would love his wheelchair.
So see how things change over the years. You know, there's innovation constantly going on.
Constant innovation.
Well, we see dogs at Eddie's Wheels. We see probably a dozen dogs a week. So there's always a reason for a dog not wanting a wheelchair.
Right.
And we have to pay attention to their body language, and we do. So that's how we came up with our variable axle cart and said, okay, if this cart's uncomfortable for this dog, how can we make it comfortable? If we move the wheels forward and put a support strap under the chest, we can make that yoke float so that he doesn't feel any extra weight on his shoulders, and he's going to love the cart.
That's pretty awesome. So who is Eddie?
Eddie is my husband.
Is Eddie an engineer?
Eddie is an engineer by trade, but not by degree. He grew up on a farm. He was the recipient of all kinds of apprenticeships in his youth, in a machine shop, as a welder. He's always been an innovator, and he has worked as an engineer. He has worked as what they call a field service engineer. Before we started Eddie's Wheels, he worked for 10 years for an engineering firm, fabricating on site in Brazil and all of South America the machinery that makes cardboard boxes. So he is a fabricator, and he's all his life been a fabricator. So when Buddha went down and there wasn't a dog wheelchair out there that would support a 80-pound Doberman, he looked at the skeleton of a dog, because that's the mechanical part, and said, okay, how do I make this work? How do I support my dog mechanically in such a way as not to injure her spine? And of course he asked our vet too, but so we made a cart that didn't impinge on the spinal cord, used the scapula to support in the front, and pelvic floor in the back. It was pretty simple.
That's awesome. And I will say that the dogs that I have that like their carts, and their carts are exactly the type that they need. Because I had a pointer, a hunting dog, and the first time she put the dog in the cart was when she brought the dog to my office, and we were going to help her fit and make sure everything was okay, adjusted well. She took the dog out of the back of the car, set the cart down in the driveway, put the dog in it, and we have 5 acres and a big open field. The dog took off hunting in the field in its cart. I said, I think it's adjusted pretty well because your dog just left. But that dog, I mean, it really...
response.
Yeah, and it's a renewed life. For these dogs that just have this desire to, really keep going, their mental spirit is great, their back end is maybe not so great, or maybe all four are not so great.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and we also had a Pomeranian who was our first four-legged paraplegic, and you guys made a little four-wheeled cart for her. And she was one of those dogs that made me look like a genius, and I actually think it was your cart more than anything else. But she came to me for chiropractic and acupuncture. The dog had been paralyzed on all four for 8 months, hadn't moved anything for 8 months, and she came to me saying, "Can you help?" And I kind of went, oh boy, I don't know. But the dog had been literally down on the floor for 8 months. So we got a four-wheeled cart from you guys, and we put her in it. And so the owner used to just take her foot and push the dog around the kitchen in her little cart, and it re-stimulated, the feeling. Yeah. And that dog, within a couple of months was out of the cart running around. You'd never know the dog ever had a problem.
Isn't that fantastic?
It's kind of magical.
Yeah. So we see it every Saturday.
All I can say is thank you so much for the magic that you do. And, I'm sorry Eddie's not here. Tell him thank you for being an innovator. I admire people that are those innovators that can think outside the box, can make this sort of thing. And if we look back down at our little friend, just chilling out, resting the chin. That's a happy dog.
Yeah, he got lasered in the stand this morning. Sarah from Respawn came over and lasered him.
You could probably get him lasered by about 10 different kinds of lasers while you're
I
here.
think so, yeah. He's gotten all kinds of good stuff here at these wonderful group of healers.
You've got lots of acupuncturists, you've got energy healers, you've got essential oils. You know, by the time you leave, he'll probably be running.
I know. He thinks this is a spa weekend.
It's a pretty good spa. All right. So for those of you who have dogs who are compromised in their ability to get around, whether it's front end, back end, or all four, Eddie's Wheels, located in Massachusetts, I think makes the best carts and materials for getting these dogs comfortable and really renewing their life. So check them out. How do people find you?
www.eddieswheels.com. We also have a Facebook page, so look for us on Facebook, and we have a toll-free number, 1-888-211-2700.
We're also on Instagram.
All right, these guys are doing the social media thing. That's where it's at these days. All right, so check them out, guys. These guys are awesome.